Drew makes Ronnie a not-so-surprising offer, and, spoiler, says goodbye to Port Charles again for now. Friday, October 24, 2025. Today on General Hospital, Alexis and Christina get to see Scout, Nathan connects with Lulu, and Danny gets into an argument with Drew. Brooke Lynn meets her mom at Sunny's, where Lois reveals that she's been offered a job as Blaze's tour manager, as the singer is breaking out on her own from Miguel's tour. It's out of the country and she knows things still aren't square between them, but would like Brooke Lynn's blessing as not to step on her toes with this opportunity. Brooke Lynn has too much going on at home to take on the role of Blaze's tour manager, and she trusts Blaze will be in good hands with her mom, so she gives her mom her blessing. Lois reveals she leaves today, however the minute Brooke Lynn is ready and needs her, she'll be back in a flash. They both end up in tears and Brooke Lynn cries she does need her mom, she's just not there yet, which Lois understands. Carly and Britt bicker about what else, Jason. Carly encounters an entitled acting Britt, who is taking up all the space in the Metro Court Stream room, and promptly throws used towels at her. They bicker, and when Carly threatens to throw her out, Britt points out that Jason wouldn't like that. Britt knows it drives Carly crazy that Jason can't stop thinking about her after all this time. What is Spinelli afraid of? Jason meets Spinelli at the Brown Dog. Spinelli tells his friend that he loves James like he's his own son, but with Nathan back, he's afraid he'll be taken away from the only family he knows. Jason doesn't know Nathan, but everyone says he's a good guy, and there is enough room for him and Nathan in James' life. Still, Spinelli can't stop worrying, especially if something terrible happens to Maxie like she dies. What happens to his family then? Nathan and Lulu make time to reconnect. Nathan arrives at Lulu's to see her, and they embrace. Nathan opens up about how he wants to be a good dad to James, but he just doesn't know what he's up against. Lulu understands more than he knows and fills him in on her own coma and time away from her kids. Nathan continues to share his fears that he can't help but feel Maxie has fallen out of love with him, while it is as if no time has passed for him. Lulu says Maxie never stopped loving him, mourned him for a long time, but moved on and made a mistake named Peter on the way. She and Spinelli reconnected after years, but she thinks Nathan is the love of Maxie's life. However, it's up to Maxie who she chooses when she wakes up. Playdate gone wrong. At Bobby's, Christina learns that her mother is defending Drew in exchange for their being allowed to see Scout, who is on her way to meet them. Alexis reveals Drew still won't let the girls see Danny, whom she doesn't have the heart to tell. Scout arrives and is thrilled to see her grandma and aunt, rushing into their arms. No sooner do they start catching up when Danny and Rocco turn up, and Scout runs over to them. Alexis and Christina exchange looks, and Scout's nanny is watching in the background. Alexis takes the boys outside and reveals that Drew has lifted the restraining orders for all of them except Danny's. She promises to fix this in time. It's not fair, but they need to follow Drew's rules for now. Danny believes in his grandma. Alexis gets back to Christina and Scout, who is upset she didn't get to visit with her brothers at all. What does Michael offer Jacinda? At the bistro, Michael tells Jacinda he's going to pay her to fall in love with him, which insults her as her emotions aren't for sale. Michael explains that came out wrong, and that he meant he wants them to sell themselves as a couple to shore up their alibi. Jacinda takes a selfie of them to begin building a social media trail, and they discuss how this relationship would work. Michael tells her, for starters, she'll need to get a different job. Jacinda says she has bills to pay. Michael explains he can set her up with a job. Drew offers to buy what from Ronnie? At the Quartermaines, Ronnie and Drew meet, and Congressman Cutthroat wastes no time buttering her up, starting with how neither of them was born with a silver spoon in their mouths. They sit down, and Drew uses their shared animosity for Tracy to bond, as well as their love for Monica. Drew admits he and Monica weren't close in the past year. He made mistakes, and Tracy prevented him from making things right with Monica. He assumes the pain of not being able to right things with Monica is something they share. Drew checks in with Scout's nanny and gets back to chatting with Ronnie. Ronnie can't shake the feeling that Drew has an ulterior motive, and Drew admits he would love to make an offer to buy the family home, should she want to sell it. Raise your hand if you didn't see this coming. No one. Who causes problems for Drew? Suddenly Rocco and Danny enter, and Danny yells at Drew to get the hell out of this house, which he's not welcome in. Drew says Ronnie decides who visits now. Rocco and Danny tell Ronnie that Drew is a bad guy and that he filed restraining orders against Scout's entire family. Ronnie is appalled, given that Drew was trying to sell her on how much family means to him. As they argue, the doorbell rings and Ronnie goes to answer it. Drew then tells Danny he's an entitled little punk who doesn't know when to shut up, and it's time to get something straight. Back at Bobby's, Scout's nanny says it's time to go as her dad wants her home. Alexis and Christina hug Scout goodbye and promise to be at her upcoming swim meet. Scout takes off with the nanny, and Alexis fears Drew's spy reported to him about Danny and Rocco. In the show's final moments. At Sunny's, Brooke Lynn embraces her mom before she heads out to catch her plane. Lois says she loves her daughter so much. Brooke Lynn knows and says she'll miss her. Nathan thanks Lulu for her support, and she tells him that Maxie will come back from this coma, just as she did for her kids, Rocco and Charlotte. Nathan reveals he met Rocco last night when he had dinner with him, his mom and Britt. Oops. Guess Rocco forgot to tell his mom. At the bar, Jason suggests that Spinelli invite Nathan over for a big family dinner, let him see how happy James is, and that Nathan can be a part of their family. Spinelli jokes that his friend is becoming a little less stone cold and a little more warm and fuzzy. Jason is not amused and stops Spinelli from moving in for a hug. In the steam room, Carly tells Britt that they all know she's hiding something, and between her, Jack and Jason, they'll find out her secret. Britt thinks about the meds she was left and the note and storms out. At Bobby's, Alexis assures Christina she can handle Drew, and he is desperate to get Willow acquitted. However, to argue that Willow is innocent means offering the court another suspect. Christina says, "Don't tell me you're going to point the finger at Michael." At the bistro, Jacinda tells Michael she doesn't want this to just be a cover job. She wants to actually work. Michael agrees to give her a real job and extends his hand to shake on it. She says, "Oh please, if we're going to sell this." She pulls him into a kiss. Anyone else digging these two as a possible couple? Finally at the mansion, Drew knows Danny tried to see Scout, which can't happen again, or he'll throw Danny and Rocco in jail. That's when Laura appears and tells Drew he has a bigger problem to worry about her.